Hello, Sanjay. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Chandu from Zoom Trainings.
Okay.
Yeah, Priyanka, I think Priyanka is not lifting the call. You please carry on with the class.
Okay. Okay. No issues.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
So today we are going to cover the next part of the SSAS, and that is when working with the programming language or the language onto which we will work with SSAS. So that we call as DAX, and DAX stand for Data Analysis Expressions. Okay. So there are some function, and we will learn that, and we will try to use that functions in our data modeling or in our SSAS queue. And where we will use these function, we will use these function in created columns and created measures. Okay, so today we will try to do some more work on measures, creating new measures, and there we will try to use these formulas. So I haven't listed all, but I have covered the all common function here. Okay, so let's go back to the queue which we created last day. Okay, so this was the queue we created yesterday, and if you want to recall, then obviously this was the diagram view. Okay, so it's loading. So we selected some tables from our AdventureWorks data warehouse, and that the data we are having in this queue is related to the sales. Okay, so here we will have data related to the product sales and what is its category and who are the customers and what are their locations. So we will try to extract some more information with this data, not with these all 6 tables. I think there are 7 tables. Okay, so all the other tables are dimension except this fact. So this fact contains the maximum granular data, which means the granularity of the data here is the order ID level. Okay, so in this fact table we can say like the unique uh, column, and the column which contains a unique value will be the order ID. Okay, and now I'm coming back to the data view. So you can switch back and forth between the views using these 2 buttons. Like you can find that button in the right bottom corner. So I'm switching back to diagram view, and as we know, like these regions. Okay, so below this gray line, we call these region as a calculated field or calculated measure area. Okay, so here we will calculate the measures as we did for the sample. We just counted the number of orders. Okay, and we analyze that count of orders in our using that Excel, analyze in Excel. So very frequently we will be using that Excel. So let's create some more measures, and the reason behind it is we will create some more business points, as well as at the same time we will try to learn the DAX, how to use the DAX. If you people are familiar with the Excel formula, which means then it will be easy to learn the DAX. So let's take a look on the function which we are going to learn today. So these are nothing unique function, but they are very useful. Okay, so more frequently you will be using this function when you are working with SSS tabular cube. So here we have some min, max, if function is also there, count, average, and the most powerful function of this DAX is this calculate. Okay, so we will see how to use this, and most of the time we will be working on this calculate function. Okay, so I'm going back to the data view, and we will try to first do and create new measures like sum of amount, minimum of amount, maximum of amount, and some if condition we will try to put here. Okay, so coming back to this, so let's find the maximum amount of an order. Okay, so I will find the column which contains the dollar value of that order ID. So here we have sales amount. Okay, so we will try to find the maximum sales amount, or is there any order amount? So let's find if there is any order amount. No, we do not have on the order amount here. Unit price we have, and its order quantity. So we will try to find this sales amount of each order, which means we will find that order which has the maximum value of this sales amount. So let's very quickly create the measure here. So click a cell below here and double click on it. Then the formula bar will be active, and try to write here max. I'm just giving the name of this measure. Max of sales amount. With semicolon equal to, we will define like after this equal to, we will after this semicolon and equal to, the part will be the formula region. So before this, this SSS takes as the name for the formula. So you simply type MA, so it will automatically suggest the function. Okay, so just use this max, double click on the highlighted formula, and it will automatically populate the formula bar and try to provide the column name on which you want to find the maximum value. Okay, so just select it from here, and now close the bracket. Okay, and press enter. Okay, so here we are having like what is the max value of any order. So here it is saying like from all the rows or from all order ID we have a order which has this dollar value. Okay, so and obviously let's create a new measure with the new function. In the similar way you can find the minimum, so I'm not going to do that. And take the average of this amount also. So copy this formula, copy, click somewhere else, click on it, control V, try to, as we will be using average function, so and hold a second, you have some question in your mind like why we are doing this. So I will let you know like why I'm creating this. So just give me 3 minutes, which means give me some time so that I will represent you like why we are creating this. But watch my steps like how I am working with this DEX.
Okay.
Okay, so here we created a mean and average, two measures here, and earlier we were having a existing measure which we created last day. So now I will switch back to my analyze in Excel. Okay, so let's take let's use this Excel as a quick reporting tool to analyze this data, which means why we are creating these two measures. Okay. So here we are on the Excel, and here are the list of columns and tables which we are having in the model. Okay, so we are just previewing the data of that model which we are working. So let's select all these things. You can arrange the ordering on here. So drag it up. First the count and the max of sales and average of that sales amount. So I want something like I want a count of orders according to some city, and what is the average of sales amount to that city, and what was the maximum amount value of an order from that city. So let's go down, and from the list pane go to the geography, and here select the city. Okay, so now you are having the same field, and that field is further bifurcated into that city wise. Like for this Burstow city, we got one order, and what was that max value of that order, and what is the average amount. Okay, in the same way, you can was like in Berlin, we got 583 orders, and what was the maximum sales amount of an order. So this was the out of these 553, we got an order whose amount was this, which means this was the maximum amount of an order from that 583. And what was the average sales amount from that Berlin city is 447. Okay, so now you are getting the point why we created that 2-3 measures. Is it clear, like why we are creating or why we are working on it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not difficult, but why, as you can watch here, it is very quickly creating the creating measures here bifurcating that measures according to the dimension which we are using here. So you can further do the same thing if you want to select the city, and you can have the same thing using the date dimension. Just select the calendar year and drag it from the calendar to the row value. Now you can see, like from 2010 you got 14 orders, and from that this was the maximum order amount. So from these 14 there was an order which has this value, sales value, and it is the maximum value from that 2010. And what was the average sales amount? Average sales amount was this. In the same way we are having for the different years. And for 2014 we got 1900, and what was the max value and what was the average of that sales amount. So in the same way we can work. Okay, so now let's go back to our PPT and go to next formula. Now we will use this if function, and this if function is very similar to the other functions, like similar to other programming languages. So click here, and now we'll create a problem statement like if the country is US, then we want max of orders, and if country is not US, then we do not want any values. Okay, so we have a condition here. So how we will work on that? So first find a city value, like is it, what is the value of this okay, so country region code, we want only some, or we want only value for US, not for others. Okay, so let's go back to our fact internet sales, and what was the column name? The column name was country region code. Come here and click on any cell here, double click on it, and underscore US with semicolon equal to if you want, go back to the geography and select that column. Okay, now come back to the formula, equal to with double inverted comma, provide the string to which we will be comparing. And next, after providing the this comma, first comma, as you can see, how will you populate the if function? As you can see here, it is suggesting like you have provided the test condition, now provide the result if true, which means if this condition satisfies, then what we want to do. So here we want max of, or take a sum of amount. By clicking tab button, the highlighted formula will populate. So I'm just typing tab and select this sales amount and close the bracket for sum function, and what you want to provide if this condition does not satisfy. So I want some zero value, nothing else. So click it and press enter. We are getting some error here. Oh, no circular dependencies there. Okay, so we are having some error. It's saying all that formula measure. Still semantic error, the value of total product cost cannot be determined. Does not exist with this, so we need to provide the table name for it. What is the table name? Fact internet sales. Okay, so I'm facing some issues, like I'm unable to create an example on this if statement. So in next class I will try to do this. Okay, so move on to the next formula. Count you can do and average with it. Now come here, come to this calculate function, and this calculate function is very important because if you have any kind of business situation, okay, then you can have the condition in this calculate function. So let's create the same condition we discussed here, like for US only you want to do something. Okay, so come here and double click on it and semicolon here, type calculate, and in the first you need to provide the expression, which means what is the what aggregation or expression you want to work. So suppose I want to take the sum of amount again and click on the function, take column. I have clicked on the column name and closing the bracket for that sum function. After providing this, I want that filter condition from the bin geography. Select this and equal to semicolon, sorry, with inverted double inverted comma US. As you can see, after providing expression, you need to provide the filter condition. So you can provide n numbers of conditions here. So I have just provided, like, use this, I'm using calculate function, and the first part of the function will be the expression, which means before first bracket you will provide the expression, which means that can be aggregation, that can be any kind of aggregation. Okay, so it can be sum, min, max, average, whatever you want to do. Okay, and after the first bracket you will be providing the condition, which means the filter condition to which you have. So I'm just closing the bracket for the calculate function. So as you can see here, when you come near to this bracket, so you can see, like, we are closing this bracket for this highlighted one. So you can watch like this bracket for this close calculate is highlighted here. So the very precisely we need to take care of the brackets. Okay. So we are having the same some value here. So but obviously what this calculate US we created is like we are only taking the sum of the amount sales amount only for US country. Okay, so go back to this Excel on which we are analyzing. So I think this measure should be here. So before that we need to refresh. Okay, so here we are the list of the measures which we created. Obviously, the if will not work because in the cube itself we are having the issue. So we will not use that if, but we will use this US. So when you click on it, you can see here like you are having here the values which you are having here is only from the US country. And how will you verify that? So just bring that column to which we applied the filter. So what was that column name? So let's see, it was from the dim geography table and country region code. Okay, so this was the column, so drag it to the rows. As you can see, it is from the all the rows we are having the same value from the US only. So whatever you are having here for the US is being repeated for all the rows. So but we don't want these values. Okay, so we will again come back to this formula and we can use now. It's okay, the function is working, but we want like we don't want these values like we don't want it to be repeated. So for that you just have to provide this filter condition in using that filter function. Obviously I'm expecting some of its part is going over your head, but try to understand because this is the only method through which we can learn the DEX function. Okay, so try
Okay.
to mm, find the situation, but obviously if you still face any difficulties we can again discuss on that. I will try to make that problem simple.
Okay.
So as just watch this, like I have selected this filter and now I'm again watching this hinted line or this pop-up text which we are having here. So it is saying like if you are using the filter function then you need to provide the table name. So here I'm using the dim geography. So it is automatically suggesting. So I'm pressing the tab button and it automatically populate the dim geography, and after the first comma our condition is there like filter condition is here. So I will close the press enter. So what here we are doing, we are using this calculate function, and for calculate function we are providing some expression and the filter condition, and here we after the first comma this filter function, this part is a filter condition for calculate, and for that filter condition we are using again a filter function. So if you are not using the filter function then you will have the values as like this, that obviously that filter will work but it will be repeated for the other countries. Okay, so now we'll apply this and go back to the Excel and refresh the new. So now we are having the only values for US and not for the others. Okay, I'm just trying to create a situation so that we can learn the DEX, which means if we are simply learning the the DEX function functionality, then it will be very boring and you cannot remember for a long period.
Yes.
And here we have used these two functions, like how to use calculate and how to use filter. Okay, and now I will use this AND function. Okay, so suppose we want, like, when I want the filter values for two country regions. I want for this FR, France. Okay, so I want some values for this as the same thing which we are going having there for US. I want the same thing for same filtering for FR. So go back to this formula. And try to write a AND function inside that filter. I think we should use first OR, because we have condition like we want this filter for US or for France. If we will be using AND, then we will not have a situation like the country region will be same for these two, which means we cannot have these two value at the same time. So that AND function will return 0. So before this I will use the OR function. And now we are in the inside OR function. As you can see here, the highlighted text is showing like you have provided the first logical condition. Now provide the second logical condition after placing some comma. So I will repeat the same condition here and we'll use the FR here. As you can watch here, this last bracket is for the calculate. The second last one is for filter function. And as you can watch here, like this filter function, and this second one, this third last is for OR function. Okay, so click OK, and now go back to our Excel, refresh it again. So now we are having the situation like we are having the data for France or US. So whenever the filter condition will satisfy, like here the filter is for France is satisfying for this calculate US, then it is populating the value, which means we are having here the value from the France only. And in the same way we are having for this US. Okay, so have you got like how we are manipulating the functions? Actually, we have created a very complex calculate here, where we are using the sum, and for that we are having two conditions. Like if the country user is US or FR, then we want this sum amount to be evaluated. And for that we are using the filter function, and here we are providing like from this table use these two conditions, and for that we are using OR condition, which means whatever one of these two value will satisfy, then this formula will work. So have you got a brief idea on this?
Yes.
Okay, so I will now move to the next. Obviously I will provide you a very good documentation on these function. Okay, so just read that book, and today I didn't got any time to publish that book to your OneDrive. Sorry, that to that Google Drive. So I will do it by tomorrow only.
Okay.
Okay, so the what is the next function we have? Here we in the same way we can use the and, not, or, not, and today. Today function is very useful, like finding get date, as we do in our SQL. We use the get date. In the same way, for that kind of work we have a today function. So let's create a quick small mirror here. I name it as date. CURINT correct semicolon equal to type today and click enter. So today function does not require any input, so press enter. So you are having the today's date, like it's showing my machine time. Okay, not time but only date value. So I will go back to that Excel and again refresh this, and we created this measure here. So date current, select this. So it is populating values for the same all the values here, but you will find some null values here. But to remove this here, okay. So here you can have a like a drive column or a timestamp measure. Okay, so it will show you like what is the date of that cube. Okay, what is next? In the same way you can find month, year. So let's go back to that formula again and try to find the month of today. MONTH tab, close the function, click enter. So as you can see here, the date current is showing the 1 because we named it. We are finding the month of that current date. And when you go back to this Excel, so why we are using this Excel? Because the Excel is a very quick reporting tool. So we are just validating our for measures. As we name that function here, so select this. Now you are having like current, what is the current month number. Okay, so in the same way you can work on different functions according to your requirement. And these functions, to work on these functions, we need to discuss something like, are you people familiar with MTD, QTD values, like what is month till date, what is quarter till date, and what is year till date values?
Mm, not much.
Okay, so whenever you are working with the reporting thing, so the most of the business person will require like, I want some of amount which we got till now. Okay, so they must be saying like we started this new year and up to today, what is the sales? Okay, so in the same way we can have different condition like MTD will represent you like what is the sales month till date, starting from the first of every month and to the end of that date. So let's create a quick work on it, then it will be easy to explain. MTD semicolon equal to, just type total and it will automatically suggest you the function. So here we have MTD. As you can read the lines, evaluates the specific expression over the interval which begins on the first of the month and ends with the last date in the specific date. Okay, so suppose we are on the today we are just complete this. So as my machine date is saying like today we are on the 30th of the January, which means we are on this current. So what this function will do, it will just sum the total sales value from the first to this 30th, which means suppose we got some $100 on first, we got some 200 on second, and in the same way up to this. So what will be the total sales up to 2? It will be 300. In the same way on the third we got something like $50 of sales. So what is the total sales up to third? That will be 350. So you can sell like it's a running total. Okay. So
Okay.
let's to it quickly. Total MTD and expression, what we want the sum of sales amount. You can simply type the name of that column also, it will automatically uh, suggest column name. Before that you need to provide the table name. So the table with name, which means the from which, what is the address of that column, which means from which table you are referring that table. So just provide fact from the fact internet sales, we want sales amount. So this column we want, so click tab and close the bracket, and now we need to provide the date function. So here why we created that date table as a date table. So we did in last class we did something, mark date table as date. Okay, so here we will use that thing. So here we are working with some time function, total MTD, that will scan and that will work on some time dimension. So here we need to have a date column from that date dimension table. So obviously that column will be dim date, not the date key. There should be some this value, and close the bracket. Okay, so it is showing some blank here, but when we plot this on this Excel, it will show some result. So refresh this. Now we have the MTD measured here. Before that, we need to have date column in this table. So I will remove this country, and I will go to that dim date and will select that dim date column. Before that, I want the year also. Can we select, okay, so that now select the formula. MTD. Current month, where is the current month? I'm removing this current month. Okay. So what's here, like how we are using that function. So MTD is okay. Before that, let's create a new measure here, sum of sales. So I've created a new measure here, sum of sales amount, and where I'm just taking the sum of sales amount column, nothing else. Go back to the Excel. Here I will explain you why I have created that. I will remove this all. Setting count of let's let it be non average max also. Okay, so just focus on this 2011. Okay, so 2011 an uh, we got two orders. Okay, and what was the sum of amount for those two orders is something $7,156, And what is the MTD for that? Obviously, for the first of every month will be the same MTD. Running total will be the same. And now we are on the second date, which means the 2nd of the January 2011, we got 5 orders. And what was the sales amount of that? 15,000 something. So what will be the total sales? 15,000 plus 7. Okay. So in the next column, you are having the sum of the previous sales value, which means when you add these two things, 7 plus 15 will be around 22. Okay, in the same way it will increase up, it will just keep on adding the previous sums. Okay, so it will keep the running total up to the up to the last month. So as you can see here, we are working on the MTD part. Okay, so here on the 1st of Feb, it is resetting to the original value. So on the 1st of Feb, we got 5 orders, and for that the amount is this, and running total for this will be the same amount. Why? Because we are calculating MTD, month till date. Okay, so whatever with the last day of that month, you will have that value. So as you can watch on this highlighted word, which means up to 28th of the January 2011, we got this much of total sales amount. And what are the different sales per day was this? So actually we are getting this value from the sum of all the previous values from the January itself. I'm just going here. As you can watch here, the Excel is showing the sum of for these range, which I have selected here. Okay, so for the sum of this range, you can watch here like sum is 4299, and then we are getting the same value from our calculated measure LTD. Okay, so what this single cell represents is the sum of previous amounts in the same month, and how it is resetting from the on every first of any month, it is resetting its value. So have you got a brief idea about what is MTD?
Yeah.
It's a running total, and whose resetting value is who will reset to the actual sales on every first of the day of every first of the month. Okay, in the same way, what is QTD? Okay, so the reset point will be the on every, or periodicity of reset value will be every quarterly, which means on after every 3 months it will reset. Here we are having on every month, which means MTD, month till date, will have a reset value on every after finishing of every month. In the same way, when we will go to the QTD, that will run the same amount up to the quarter. Okay, and if you are working on the some YTD thing, then that will reset its value on every first of January.
Okay.
Okay, why we are doing this? Because most of the time when you will be working on reporting, they will ask you like what is called QTD, what is MTD, what is the trend of sales. Okay, and in the same way you will be asked for the previous year over year. Are you familiar with year over year comparison?
Like
What is
this
the
year
sales?
versus last year, like
Yes,
that.
exactly. Yes, exactly. So we can have that thing also.
Okay.
What was the sales till? What was the sales this year, and what was the sales last year for the same period, for the same value, or we are on the. So let's quickly create a very good formula here. Now MTD, we'll copy the formula for MTD. And here I will calculate the MTD last year. And now I will use calculate function again. Okay, so this first part, the measure which we created for MTD, will be the expression for this calculate function. Okay, and what will be the condition? The condition will be same period last year, and you need to provide the date dimension for this, and we are using these things, so copying from here, because this simple same period last year needs a input value, and that input will be the date column from the date dimension. Now close the bracket for calculate, press enter. Now go back to our Excel and refresh. MTD last year. Okay, so just do all step in to analyze this, because as you can see, you are not having value here. Why? Because for January 2010, we are not having any sales value. We are having sales from the December itself. Okay, so you here, why, that's why we are having blank here, because last year, which means for 2010, 5th of January there was no sales, because you can watch here, like we are having sales from the 29th of the December 10. So come back here, you have to be slide it to the December month of 2011. Okay, so here you just go to this 2012. So you can have like, what is the sales on 1st of February? We got 9 orders, and what is the sum of sales amount, and obviously the MTD will be the same value. And what was the same MTD value from the last year? As you can see, this value will be exact to the 1st of January 11 sales, 2011. 7156. Here you can see, like on the 1st of January to this year, we got this amount, this much of sales. And what was the last year to this same date, which means on the 1st January the sales was this. In the same way, you can watch, like for 6th of January, what is the current MTD in this, and what is the MTD for the 6th of January last year. What was the running total last year of the same date for the same 6th of January. So we are comparing the current with the last year here. So here what we are doing is year over year comparisons. In the same way, you can calculate the what was the sum of sales amount last year and what is the sum of this year. So, and then next to it you can have subtract these values, and then you will have a change over year, which means are we on the profit side or are we on the negative side? Okay.
Okay.
So obviously I'm just creating situations so that you can find this DEX function very easy. Okay, so today we work like on many functions like MTD, sales, a sample period last year, and we got some introduction about like how to work on the queue and what we do inside the queue. So obviously it will be very difficult to extract these kind of information using SQL. So your question was like, can't we prepare this report from the Excel, from the SQL statement, directly from the SQL table? Yes, we can, but we cannot have these things running, like as here we are just removing the things. And again, the whole report is arranging here in the same requirement. So we are dynamically changing the row, columns, and its axis group by something. So yes, if you want these kind of things, then you have to go back to your SQL statement, and you have to edit that SQL statement to get required output. Okay, but if you are working on this SSAS and this calculated measures, then it will automatically arrange according to your row levels. Like now we are plotting this thing with some year dimension here. Now we can plot the same thing with some city dimension. For that, you don't have to go to the SQL, and you do not have to edit this. It will automatically generate the things.
Okay.
Okay, so here we are having the, or here we are, why we are getting these value, because the SSAS is working here. So SSAS is very quickly producing the things. Okay, so we have like the percentage is left, so I will show this how to calculate the percentage. I will next class, and before that I will finish this KPI, key performance indicators. Okay, so I will be discussing a situation like uh, I know I have a measure here, count of orders. So I just want to create an indicator like we have in red light, like green, orange, and red. Okay, so I will try to create something like from each city. Suppose we have list of cities, and I want to check a condition like from a city, if we got above than 100 orders, then we are around, just create a green signal for that city. And if we are in the range of, or if we are on above 80, then create a orange indicator. If we are on some above 50, then create a red range, or below 80, create a red indicator for that. So to create that kind of indicator, just right click on any measure. Without measure you cannot have. So right click on the measure name and you will have a create KPI. So click on it. Now you will have a create KPI window here. So here I will not compare this with measure. I will select this. We will talk about this measure, this selection tomorrow. And here by default I want to compare it with 100, or you can have like 110. So let it be 100 for the simple side. So now here you can define the condition like if your city is having greater than 80 number of orders, then create a green single for that. So you can arrange this thing. I want a green signal for 100 above. If the city is having above 100 orders, then create a green signal for that. And if its order is between 50 and 100, then I want yellow for that. And in the same way, before below 50, then I want a red one for, so that the business analysts will can concentrate on that city, so that to increase the sales over there. Okay, so click OK. So now it's preparing the KPI on that thing. On if there is a KPI on that measure, you can have these three lines here in the right side. As you can, when you hover it, and it will say like we are having KPI on this measure. Now go back to the Excel, refresh it. For that, I will remove this. I'm just removing XMPD and MPD last year's sales amount and count of orders we have, and select that. You will have a KPIs here, and new table for this. Click on it. Here we are plotting this count of order already. Count of order is already there, on which we created the KPI. Now we want to select the goal for this, which means what was the goal set for this. So we selected a 100, constant 100 for all the cities, which means if we, this is the target value. Okay. To make it clear, just remove this sales amount. What is the median? Okay, so here we selected that target, which means for each city we are selecting, defining a target value here. For 100 will be the target. And what, so obviously if you take this what is it, I don't know. So here we are having 186, which means we should get an indicator here in green, because the define our condition, it's greater than 100, it's greater than our target value. So go here and just click on the status. And now we are having the indicators in our chart or in our graph. As you can see here, before going the things, when you watch on the red signal, obviously they are in our red zone, which means from that city we are getting orders less than 50, and for the green you are having this. So let's find any yellow region. Yes, here the why we are getting yellow, because obviously that we define like if the order count is in between 50 and 100, then we want a orange indicator for that. In the same way you can change the indicator type. Right click on it, edit KPI settings. Okay, so you can select a flag or you can select some other things. Okay, these are the different indicators available in SSAS. So go back to this Excel again and refresh this. Refresh this again. I think we are getting somewhere. It should change. Somehow it's this Excel is caching this indicator, but if you drop this, okay, to not see it, and when you retry, it should populate that flag signal. So here we are on the list of the measures which we created inside that factory internet sales table, and the KPI which we are working. Before that, select the value, goal, and status, and bifurcate this thing according to the city, which means from that column will come from the state geography, and select city. Again, I'm having the failure. Okay, so we can change. Okay, so no worries, we can have the different things also here. Is it clear like how the KPI is working? How the brief introduction about KPI, what is KPI and how we are using that KPI?
Yes.
Okay, so the main aim of this count measure is to make you comfortable like what is KPI and how we use the KPI and how we will create a KPI inside SSAS. So by doing this simple quick demo, we got all our questions. Okay, so you people have any doubt up to now? Obviously, I'm expecting so many doubts in the DEX formula, but the main aim for this DEX was to make you like why we need DEX. Okay, so where is the requirement of DEX? Okay, so obviously I will suggest you to just create a simple formulas like count of sales amount, sum of sales amount, and obviously when you are when you have expertise on this simple DEX function, then you can go to the calculate and try to work maximum on calculate function. That will where you will have more filtering conditions according to your business requirement. Okay. So now
Okay.
you people are comfortable with how to work with DEX inside SSA's tabular project.
Yes.
And what is all these things? We created a sample queue and we use extracted data, which means we created add data and done all these things, marked the table, created relationship, how to create and edit relationships. And on that calculated columns, we created a full name, and obviously we created measures, which means we are using all these things. Okay, so this text function will be used in using calculated columns or in creating measures. Okay, so there only you will have DEX and how to create KPI. And in our next class we will try to use this hierarchy and partition. Are you people are familiar with partition? Then why we need
Mm,
partition? As we have very big data, okay, So we will use to have data in our different partitions. The same thing is there in SQL tables also. Okay, so tomorrow I will do this quick partitioning. Obviously, we will partition our data according to the years. So the example we will like for I will create a partition, which means I will create a sub table for this fact internet sales. If you take an example, obviously that will have maximum number of rows. Suppose there are 1 billion rows. So when you reprocess that queue, obviously that 1 billion rows will be processed. But I want to process the data for 1 year only. So I will create a partition before that. And I will create a partition on year number. So let's see tomorrow like how we will work on this partition thing. And in the same way, you will have permission on this cube. The advantage of using this cube is you can provide a very high security on your data. Okay, so here you will provide the access on the queue, and in the end we will deploy this queue on our SSPS server. So up to now, do you people have any doubts?
No.
Okay, so Sundar, do you have any doubt like that this doesn't require any prior knowledge?
No, no, sir.
Okay, so with SSCS, you people are comfortable up to now, and we will proceed tomorrow. Not tomorrow, I think we will be meeting on Monday, as we do not have class on weekends. Is it so, Kavita? Kavita, are you comfortable with the class on weekends?
No.
Okay, so no worries. So Sundar, the next class will be on Monday at the same time.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, so we do not have class on weekend, so obviously we should take some rest also. Okay, so no issues and bye from my side.
Hello.
Yes, yes, come on, come on, come on. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
listening.
Could you just like send me the recording sessions of the previous classes what were held?
Okay, so there are recording of the classes on SSIS. So for that, just ask the training people. Just call Zoom trainings and just tell them you want access on the recordings. Okay,
Okay.
so they will provide you the access. I think the whole recording is there on the Google Drive, so they will share that drive with you.
Okay, sir.
Okay then, bye bye all.
Yeah. Nice.
Bye.